After living most of my adult life in the UK, I've decided that it's time to say goodbye, and here's why. Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, I'll be talking about why I have decided to leave the United Kingdom. I'm originally from Romania, and at this point, I've lived, well, most of my adult life in the UK, and it has definitely been one of the most important chapters of my life, living in a Western democracy, living in a Western society where democracy, freedom of speech, free market capitalism, and meritocracy are core values of how a country should be governed. And as a result, those values had a positive influence on myself and my development over the years, and I'm very grateful for that. I would not be the person who I am today without this experience. One of the reasons why I wanted to move to the UK is because those values have been core parts of the society for a lot longer than most other places. And besides, I always wanted to experience how it is to live in an English-speaking Western democracy since I was a kid. One of my oldest dreams have been to experience as much freedom as possible, to live in a society where you're not judged based on your background, but you're judged based on your character, based on how much value you bring to the table. I also wanted to be financially independent from any corporate job, to be in a position to decide where and how I want to spend my time. UK was also, in my opinion, one of the best places in Europe to run a small business. However, things in the last couple of years have changed, and not in a good way. The political class in this country have made decisions that made the life of average British citizens a lot harder and a lot harder. And I'll give you a few examples. My first one would be the introduction of what is called IR35 rules or legislations. These were introduced between 2017 and 2021 and made the life of a lot of small business owner in Britain a lot harder. I will specifically talk about lorry drivers or truck drivers because I met quite a few of them due to the nature of my job. So after the introduction of these rules, they weren't able to pay themselves as a director of their companies. So they would work as a contractor, and they would normally pay themselves as a director of the company. After these rules were introduced, they had to pay themselves as an employee, which means they had a lot less flexibility to run their business. They had to pay a lot more taxes, and that meant a lot less money at the end of the month. I remember this was in a previous job, and over the, I would say, 8 or 9 months, 70 to 80% of the lorry drivers I knew in that particular job, they all left the UK because of that reason. If you remember, there was a shortage of lorry drivers that made it on national television. I believe it was 2021. One of the reasons why that shortage happening was because of these IR35 rules. I even remember one of the hiring agencies got in contact with one of the drivers he was already back home, and they promised him 22 or 23 pounds an hour, and the guy still said that he's not coming back. In the past, as a director of your small business, you had the option to pay yourself from your business account straight to your personal account the sum of £2,000 per year. Not a very large sum of money, considering when you think about it on a yearly level, but there was something. That amount has now been reduced to £500. Yes, £500 per year. Let's be honest, that is a complete joke. Also, another example. Corporate taxes have gone up from 19% to 24%, which is a very large increase. National insurance number will go up from 13.8 to 15%. There will be no incentive for people to take risks and open up new businesses, which is not good. And the latest tax, if you watch the news, the inheritance tax, that will severely affect especially farmers, because their children will not be, they won't be able to afford to inherit their parents' farms. And some of these farms have been in those families for like six generations. Now think how crazy that is. The kids will not be able to afford to pay the tax to inherit the property of their parents. I just can't believe it. The cost of living has skyrocketed in the last 3 years. Housing, utilities, especially if you live in a big city, people are basically working to survive. They have no savings whatsoever. Another example when things are not going in the right direction in a society is when capital is leaving. When people with money, when millionaires are leaving the country. People with money are the people who make things happen. They are the ones who put their money to work. They are the ones who create businesses, which in turn means more jobs, which are very important for a functioning economy. Well, I will give you a few stats in that regard. So let's talk about in 2022, 1,500 millionaires left the United Kingdom. In 2023, that number jumped to 4,500 millionaires who left the United Kingdom. And in this current year, we are in December, and this number is not up to date as of yet for the full year, but we are sitting at 9,500 millionaires who have left the United Kingdom already. At this point, you are basically getting taxed when you earn your money, you're getting taxed when you spend your money through VAT, you're getting taxed when you save your money, and you're getting taxed after you die when your kids have to pay that tax, the inheritance tax. You cannot tax your way out of trouble. This has been proven throughout history. All of the things I've mentioned are all bad signs in my opinion. When government's only solutions to solve problem is to take even more money from hardworking citizens. This is a vicious cycle that never ends well. And the current elected government, they're gonna be in power in the UK until 2029. Which means very likely things will go from bad to worse in the next couple of years. If you see my last episode, you know that I've quit my job to try something else. At first I thought that would be here in the UK, but after doing some thinking, I realized that money will last me longer if I move somewhere cheaper, which means I will have more time to implement change. And I think that's going to be good for me in the long run. So in the next couple of weeks, I will be moving out of the UK. Big decision, I know, but it has to happen. As much as I love this country, the national park, the culture, the countryside, it's time to make a change. Moving to a more affordable place will give me that extra time that I'm looking for. If you've been thinking of making a similar move, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Don't forget to like and subscribe to follow my journey. It really helps with the algorithm, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.